So, good afternoon, everyone. Today's topic is MSME, micro, small, and medium enterprises. What, first of all, let us know the meaning of this MSMEs. Why? Because here, these all are doing some sort of business activity. Basically, we need to know the meaning of a business. Business means state of being busy is called business. Otherwise, it may be simply, it is the economic activity which is concerned with the production, distribution of goods and services to satisfy the needs of human beings for the objective of the earning profit. Every activity is business activity, frankly speaking. So here, while we move in the on the road, we can see number of establishments, some furniture shops, courier services, cloth merchant, brick unit, cement company, etc. So here, all these are doing some sort of business only. Either they deal goods or services. For example, courier. Courier is a service. They facilitate the delivery of goods from one place to other place. In the same way, entertainment establishments like cinema, theater, etc., etc. That also will come under this particular category itself. First of all, what I mean to say is, first of all, I want to make it clarity about the business activity. And in addition to business, one more activity is there that is called production activity. That is called factory. A place where production activity takes place is called factory. Here, with the help of raw material, with inputs like labor and material and technology, they convert into finished goods. These finished goods are being distributed to the individuals who require them, who demand them. So here, so for factory also there is a definition is there, 1948 Factories Act, with power, without power, 50 employees, without power, 100 employees. They need to convert some raw material to finished goods like that, hasn't it? And one more is there, enterprise. Any establishment which engage in the business, either in the production process or in the distribution process, either they deal with goods or they deal with services, or comes under the enterprise. That's why a comprehensive definition of meaning of enterprise in 2006 MSME Act was given, specificating the promotion and development and enhancing the competitiveness of micro, small, and medium enterprises. So here, any business activity, any service activity which make competitive edge or competition among the all these individuals who are in the micro, small, and medium enterprise. Here, this particular act provides comprehensive definition for the MSME. From time to time, these MSMEs are going on changing. Why? Because here, due to inflation, MSME definition basically in 2006 they concentrated only on the investment. They ignored about the turnover. So in 2020 they realized that and they gave the comprehensive definition which covers both investment as well as turnover. Here, sorry, here generally the people are confused. Corporate entities, non-corporate entities, registered entities, non-registered entities. For that purpose, I want to make a light on these establishments. From the ownership point of view, business establishments are of various types. Number one, sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship means it's the oldest form of business establishment which will prevail from the age of Vedas or beyond that also. From as far as human civilization starts, the sole trader proprietorship starts. So here, in this, only one individual will take the responsibility of purchasing, selling, managing, accounting, everything. So he is one man army. It is one man show, isn't it? So here, this sole proprietorship may be registered under SME, MSME. Now Udyog Aadhar is there. Every individual is having Aadhar. Every MSME or SME will have the Aadhar number. Udyog Aadhar. It is called Udyog Aadhar. MSME portal facilitates this. So if this MSME owners or the people who are engaging in MSMEs register in this portal, they are going to get some benefits. And one more is there, every shops and establishment act. There is a separate act is there. The act is enacted by the respective state legislative assemblies. Every state is having a separate shops and establishment act. And in addition to this, now in 2017 May 1st onwards, May 1st only, this GST started. GST is implemented. So GST authorities are also making the registration is mandatory for the traders whose turnover exceeds 20 lakhs. So in addition to these three, one more is there. For example, druggist is there, chemist and druggist, medical shop. He has to obtain the license from the pharmacy council of that particular state. And in the same way, if the liquor shop is there, the respective state government has to issue the license to them. So these are all the special licenses. All these are the license or registration process. Now, coming to the extension of sole trader is nothing but a partnership. You see here, liability of a sole trader is unlimited. Capacity is very limited. His capacity, investing capacity, his risk-bearing capacity is very limited. To extend this limited capacities into unlimited, so this partnership came into existence. Like-minded people will join their hands, their resources, their efforts, everything they join and just do the business, and out of the business, any profits are there, they will distribute the profits as per agreed shares, agreed ratios. That's why, in simple, partnership is an agreement between the people who are agreed to share the profits of the business carried on by all or one of them all. So, a person who is actively participating in the partnership is called active partner. Remaining partner may participate, may not participate. If they are not participating, they are called as a dormant or sleeping partner. Now, recently, Government of India introduced one more concept in 2008 itself only, is a limited liability partnership. In partnership also liability is unlimited. If it is unlimited liability, no individual ready to take the risk. So to avoid this problem, Government of India enacted the one more act in 2008 that is called Limited Liability Partnership. Like company, these people also will have the limited liability. Actually, Partnership Act is passed in 1932. As per the Partnership Act, partnership firm is to be registered. As per the 2008 Limited Liability Partnership Act, if limited liability partner is established, it is to be registered under the Companies Act itself only. Next, one more is there, company form of organization. Here, recently in 2013, company form of organization, register of companies or corporate affairs, Department of Corporate Affairs facilitated one more concept that is called one-person company, OPC. One-person company means OPC. Previously, before 2013, if any entrepreneur who wish to start the business has to go to America for registration purpose. He has to float the company there and does the business in India. But nowadays, of 2013, these are all the resultants of liberalization. After liberalization, lot of enthusiasm, lot of entrepreneurship qualities improved among our youth. As a result, the government of India passed or enacted one law that is one-person company is allowed. Previously, there was private limited company, public limited company. There are the various types of companies are there. In addition to this private limited company and public limited company, they made one-person company also floated. As a result, now most of the people, those who want to make the corporate setup of the business, the company is run by only one person only, but they will have the corporate edge or corporate advantage. This is one person company, private company, public company. Next, cooperative societies. You see, from the point of view of the companies or partnerships or sole traders, their main aim is profit only. So here, some of the institutions are came into existence to eliminate the profit. Profit leads to exploitation of customer consumer. So here, customer or consumer is being exploited rapidly. To avoid this, cooperative societies came into existence. Example, our Nandini belongs to cooperative society only. Karnataka Cooperative Milk Federation. They are procuring the milk, and this milk is being distributed to consumer at a cheaper rate, doesn't it? So that's why consumer is protected by this type of cooperatives. In every walk of life, like everywhere we can see the cooperative societies now. Sole proprietorship, no registration is required, but already I told you, registration as per the GST, registration as per the drug licenses like chemist and druggist, registration regarding the liquor license, registration regarding the shop and establishment act, Aadhaar, MSME Aadhaar like that. Partnership 1932 Act already I explained, and recently LLP also Companies Act enacted LLP Limited Liability Partnership. The partnership only, but liability of the partner is limited only 2008 Act. These two either partnership or limited liability partnership. Registration is allowed by the respective state government. Separate mechanism is allowed, available to make the registration. And one more thing, limited liability partnership is compulsory registration is required, but in the case of partnership, there is no compulsory registration, it is a voluntary, but if the partnership firm is registered, it will get some of the benefits from the act point of view, legislation, law point of view. That's why every partnership firm tries to register their firms under the Partnership Act. Coming to the Companies Act 2013. 1956 only Companies Act comprehensively, it is again amended in 2013. That's why they are taking this as a 2013 benchmark itself only. Every aspect of the Companies Act is comprehensively, it is amended in the 2013 Companies Act. That's why Companies Act, we can register the companies in the name of private company, public company, one-man company. As per the requirement of an individual, we can register the companies. Who will register means Department of Corporate Affairs. Company registrars will be there, isn't it? For every state, there is a authority and cooperative society. So in 1902 only cooperative societies set up, and before independence only. But again 1950 it is a comprehensively there defined, isn't it? So these are very, very essential, important to know before understanding the MSME. First, the ownership point of view, sole trader, partnership, limited liability partnership, company. This company may be either one person company, private limited company, public limited company, or cooperative society. And there is a lot of confusion among the students. They feel that all public companies are called government companies. A small distinction is there. there is all government companies are not, all public companies are not government companies. If in any company government holds substantial interest means above 51% of shares, it is called government company only. Public company means more people are involving in the company in the form of shareholders. That's why it is called public company. Private company means less people are involving in the company as in the form of shareholders. It is called private limited company. Actually, there is a small distinction. Definition itself is there. A company which limits the number of members to 50, which do not allow the transfer of shares, which do not allow the publication of prospectus to invest the capital. It is called private limited company. So Act itself only says that any company which is not private company is called automatically become the private company. So this is a very important concept we need to understand, make understand to the students. Even laymen also feel that every public company is called government company. No, it is totally a wrong concept. Next. Now let us understand, coming to the point of view of the MSME. You see here micro, small and medium enterprises. We know now what is the business, what is the factory, what is the enterprise. Everything we know, isn't it? Any person who is engaging in all these activities is called entrepreneur. So he is running a enterprise, isn't it? So there is no uniform definition which suits all over the world. Sometimes this definition covers only investment cap or criteria. Sometimes this definition covers only turnover criteria. Sometimes some countries they cover both. Sometimes they use factory, power, etc. etc. So from long back, these definitions are going on changing, isn't it? And if every industry to industry it changes, country to country it changes. That's why we need to understand the definition of MSME in our particular India. Here in 2006, MSME Act was enacted. They concentrated, they made definition on the basis of only investment only in 2006. But in 2020, as a result of inflation, continuous inflation, crores becomes lakhs. That's why this investment is going on increasing in even small also. Tiny sector also is going on increasing nowadays. So that's why MSME definition is to be made proper and redefinition is required. So in 2006, definition was given, that is not comprehensive definition, but here in 2020, they gave the comprehensive definition. So here, first micro, coming to the point of view of the micro. Micro means manufacturing and services units. No, it is very important. Any unit which either manufacture or making service, which increase investment from 1 crore to investment 5 crore of turnover. Investment is 1 crore, turnover is 5 crore. If investment is 1 crore and turnover is 5 crore, that is under the micro label. In case of small, if the investment is 10 crore and turnover is 50 crore, it is called small. It's simple. Previously in 2006, only investment criteria only they considered. Investment 20 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 1 crore like that. But here they increased in micro investment 1 crore, turnover 5 crore. So simply turnover means a layman's language, total value of sales made during the year is called turnover. Isn't it? For example, if an individual established the factory, his total establishment with 75 lakhs. And he is doing the business, he is selling the goods worth rupees 4.5 crore during the year. So here his investment is under the threshold of 1 crore and his turnover is also under the threshold of 5 crore. So he is automatically categorized as micro. If he cross any of this, if his investment is 1.25 crore, but his turnover is not beyond 5 crore, automatically he will shift to small enterprise. This is very essential, important. We need to keep in mind. Micro means investment is 1 crore, turnover is 5 crore. And small investment is 10 crore and turnover is 50 crore. Medium, initially they made investment as 20 crore and turnover as 50 crore. But there is a lot of requisition from the industry side. Most of the industries, they are making more than 200 crore turnover. Sometimes especially some cement industry, they require more investment. So in that case, that on 1st June 2020, again we redefine investment for medium investment made to 50 crore and turnover made to 250 crore. Initial draft is having the 20 crore, 100 crore, but with the request from the stakeholders, especially industry owners, they converted that threshold into 50 crores and 250 crores. Means 50 crores investment, 250 crores turnover. So these are the very important definitions. One has to understand what is the meaning of micro, what is the meaning of small, what is the meaning of medium. This is very essential before understanding the concept. And already I discussed, if either from investment criteria or turnover criteria, if the particular person, particular industry, particular company is not shooting under the micro or small or medium, small, micro or small, automatically it will be shifted to next category. Isn't it? Already I took the example. But while coming back, two criteria should be satisfied, very essential. While going forward, at least one criteria should be satisfied. While coming back from medium to small, small to micro, to both the investment criteria and turnover criteria should be satisfied. Then only it is coming back, isn't it? Small to micro, medium to small, like that. This is the definition point, isn't it? Now, let us take the meaning of a good or services. What is the meaning of a good? Good means it is tangible. We can see, we can touch, we can experience, isn't it? So production, processing, preservation, manufacturing. Manufacturing means one and same, production also, isn't it? So it will be engaging in manufacturing, production, processing, or preservation. Preservation means maintaining warehouses. So these are called goods. And services means engaging in the providing services like entertainment service, TVs, isn't it? Video making, manufacturing, video making units, isn't it? And lot of things now came into existence in the services, not only courier services, isn't it? Doctors, advocates, engineers, chartered accountants, isn't it? Next, coming to the point of view of importance, actually these MSMEs are considered as growth engines, frankly speaking, growth engines. They create lots of employment opportunities in and around the industry. Near about 50% of labor force are engaging in MSMEs only, isn't it? So here 30 million units are there. MSMEs, 30 million units. You can estimate 30 million units means creating employment about 70 million manufacturing, more than 60,000, 6,000 products, 70 million manufacturing, more more than 6,000 units. 40 to 45 to 40% of output, contributing 40% of manufacturing output. Output is 45%. And exports point of view also, we are 40% of our exports are from the MSMEs only, isn't it? They are either directly or indirectly, especially in the software industry like our Bangalore are contributing much more in my MSMEs, isn't it? So here, for every economy, that's why even UNO also realized the importance of MSMEs. That's why it included one of the component in UNDP, United Nations Development Program, MSME development of MSMEs. And 70% of total employment, 50% of GDP as per 2019 calculations. Our 70% of workforce are engaging in MSMEs, and 50% of GDP is deriving from the MSMEs. Now, it is not only the national census, national estimation, even international estimation for International Council for Small Business in 2019 also estimated the same. 40% of our total production, manufacturing, 40%, 45% of our exports, 8% of our total GDP, all these are coming from the MSMEs only. So these MSMEs not only include only MSMEs, village and khadi industries, and Small Industrial Development Bank, Mudra recently our Micro Unit Development and Refinance Agency, Mudra Bank, Federation of India Micro and Small Medium Entrepreneurs, FSIME, FISME, are working continuously for the constantly for the growth and development of this particular MSME. From the benefits point, these are the importance. Now, coming to the benefits point of view, you see here, priority sector is very, very important. Loans under the priority sector. Every bank has obligatory to issue the loans to the priority sector. In India, priority sectors are number 1, agriculture, number 2, MSMEs, number 3, education loans. These three are the very, very essential important. Any bank in their portfolio, loan should consisting of this priority sector. Industrial sector is non-priority sector. This sector is called priority sector. So here, benefits, Government of India provided benefits to this MSME in the form of these MSME loans are coming to the priority sector. As a result, all banks coming forward to give the loans to the this priority sector MSME. Next, 25% share in procurement by the government and government-owned companies. You see here, if any procurement is required for the government companies or public sector undertaking, for example, any hospital run by the government. So if that particular hospital requires the furniture, they need to give the priority for the MSMEs first, not international bidders. 25% of their procurement should come from the MSMEs. This is very, very essential, important. This is called reservation of products. Some products are reserved for the MSME sector itself only. No, the government agencies could not import it from the international bidders. That's why it's also one of the important. Next, in case of stress, means companies are going to bankrupt or insolvency. So some liberations, the promoters are allowed to bid for the stressed assets under the Insolvency Act. So like companies insolvent, no such stringent laws are applicable for the MSME persons. Next, various government schemes and funds like Mudra loans. Now, recently this MSME loans within 20 minutes or 30 minutes, the loan will be processed for the MSMEs after pandemic situation. All these are the various benefits. From time to time, Government of India is giving proper what we call benefits to the MSME sector. So coming to the worldwide scenario, Japan, 70% of wages, earners and contribute 55% of value addition. 70% of wages, wage earners are from the MSMEs only. And 55% of the value addition means production is going on, coming from the MSMEs only. Thailand is also one of the important upcoming economies. 60.7% of population contributing 38% of GDP. 60.7%. As per our agricultural dependency is there in Thailand, they're depending on MSMEs. So that's why it is only indication of economic development. We need to transform depending from the agriculture to non-agriculture like MSMEs. That's why these countries are transforming very fastly. China contribute over 68% of exports. We know everywhere we are purchasing our, even from pots to Diwali crackers, everything we are depending on China itself only. You know, we believe or not, in such a manner we depending upon China. In recent, in near future also, it is not possible for India to control the dependency on China. Even America, most of the developed countries also depending upon China. 68% of China's exports are from the MSME only. In the last 20 years, created more SMEs than the total number of SMEs in Europe and US combined. So China, this is very, very important landmark. So here, from 2020 and last 20 years, from 2020 years onwards, 2020 onwards, China created such number of SMEs, small and medium enterprises, which are not created by even Europe and America put together. That's why Chinese model is entirely different. They concentrated, they put the establishments, MSMEs, especially in rural areas. As a result, the availability of labor is very cheaper in rural areas. They converting the agricultural laborers into industrial laborers. They are producing, they are ready to work at 14 hours, 18 hours a day. And there is no legislation regarding the labor acts also, enactment of labor acts also. So-called communist country, there is no labor acts in that particular China. Next, in China, industrial SMEs is defined as having up to 2,000 employees, while small business has 300 employees, and medium-sized employees between 301 to 2,000. So here in China, depending upon the employees, 2,000 employees. SME and small 300 and medium means 301 to 2,000, isn't it? So what is the importance of India in MSMEs in Indian context? Number one,
sir, shall we rejoin, sir? Shall we rejoin? This meeting will end in another 1 minute.
Okay, madam.
Yeah, please join again, sir.
Oh.
Students, please join again.